Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be sharing with you the best and most detailed 4-2-2 formation breakdown you've ever seen. If you're keen on using the 4-2-2 as your formation in FIFA 23, then you need to see this video. So in order for us to keep producing videos like this, we need your support by hitting the like button, subscribing, and turning on the notifications bell so you know exactly when we release new content. Now here is exactly what we'll be covering in this video. So let's get right into it. So the 4-2-2 has been one of the most popular formations in FIFA over the past couple of years, and it's easy to see why. Firstly, it's a really well balanced formation. It has a flat back four, two CDMs in front to give that extra layer of protection for anyone who may be feeling exposed. The two wide cams provide necessary width, and finally the two strikers up top make scoring goals easy. This is always a really good entry level formation to begin any new FIFA with. Secondly, this is a great formation for people who love to create and score goals with lots of quick, sharp passing. Especially when you implement the cams in the way we have using our key instructions, it makes this a really effective formation for people who love to play the tiki-taka style. Playing through the middle is a must with this formation, as that's where the main strength lies due to the lack of any natural width. Also, it provides for those who like to play a counter-attacking style of FIFA with an option to play the 4-6 split. This involves having the back four and two defensive midfielders sticking back and just leaving the four attackers up top. This 4-6 split is extremely useful when you have a 2-goal cushion in a game and you're just looking to hit quick counter-attacks. Naturally, you need to have speedy players in the attacking positions to complement that. So let's move on into our tactics that we settled on with this 4-2-2 formation style of play. Starting off with the defensive style, we chose balance because it's really early on in the game cycle and we don't want to go with anything extravagant and difficult at the moment. Also, with defending being difficult to master this early on, avoiding anything with a press is an absolute must. Moving on to the defensive width, we chose 40 because it's more important to keep the middle of the pitch tight and compact, making it more difficult for your opponent to play through the middle. It's much more preferable to push people out wide as there's less threat of chances being created and goals being scored. Depth, we again chose something a little bit safer as it's early on in the game, so we settled on 55. As the game develops and we get more comfortable with playing, we'll eventually push this up to probably around about 65, but for now we want to keep things simple, and we want to learn how to combat how difficult it is to defend right now. A higher depth would mean more chances being created against us, which is something we really want to avoid right now. So moving on to the build-up play, we chose slow build-up because we really like to dominate possession and take our time building attacks. With possession being really favourable at the moment, it's the perfect way to play. Those who like a Barcelona style of tiki-taka will play really well using this slow build-up because it really allows you to think and take your time, because at the moment, giving the ball away in midfield often leads to counter-attacks, and they're really strong if your opponent is good enough and has the right players to implement that. Chance creation is something we decided to leave on balance because for the same reasons we've given before, it's really early on in the game cycle and we don't want to take too many advanced risks by playing anything more advanced. So leaving it on balanced allows our instructions to dictate the bulk of our attacks, which right now is our preference because the instructions are really strong this year. Offensive width, we chose 60 because in this formation you do need to give yourself a little bit of width as it's naturally quite a narrow formation. It's important not to go too wide on the width as this will open up your midfield way too much. And something we touched on earlier, you need to keep that center and the middle of the pitch really tight and compact because you don't want to give up too many chances because that's where a lot of people like to attack. Then for players in the box, we went for 6. We want to make sure attackers and wingers are in the box, but we want to make sure the DMs never go into the box. So we don't want to go higher than 6. We want to make sure they stay on the edge to stop any potential counters. In terms of corners, we left that on 3. We don't think corners will be too overpowered this year as it's a new system. So if you are concerned about counters being a problem defensively, then you can just leave this on 1, and the same applies for free kicks. Now before we continue, if you want us to make more videos like this, then make sure you hit the thumbs up button and comment below right now with your questions and thoughts on what other formation videos you'd like us to cover going forwards. So let's get back into it and let's jump into the instructions we chose for the 4-2-2. With the goalkeepers, I like to have mine on come to crosses, and this gives me an advantage when people look to whip balls into the box from corners. If you're someone who utilizes goalkeeper movement and pulls your goalkeeper out of the box for those situations, this instruction will be irrelevant as you're already doing it anyway manually. I also like to have my goalkeeper on sweeper keeper, but again, if you're someone who controls your keeper, then these instructions are irrelevant. When it comes to key attributes, for me, reactions and reflexes are the only stats you need to be interested in when it comes to goalies, as these are the most valuable to the AI when you're in control of your goalkeeper. The higher the number, generally the better keeper is, and that is not the law though. Also, as a side note, keep an eye out for taller goalkeepers, as these have a longer wingspan, so they can dive in and reach shots into the corner better. This also makes them more difficult to beat in 1v1 situations. So moving into the fullbacks, we actually really like having them on balance, as this gives us something really attacking going forwards. And we also like to dominate possession, so we haven't really noticed them being a problem defensively. But if you are struggling with defending, then you can switch them to stay back while attacking. But we do like having them going forwards because it gives us a few more options when we are going forwards. Some of the key attributes you want to look out for when using fullbacks is it depends on your style. For us, we like to have speed, as naturally people have more speed with their wingers and strikers who like to drift wide. So you need to have pace in that position to cover. Short passing and agility are also two stats you want to look out for. Short passing is really relevant with them staying back if you are in turn having them on stay back, because most of the passes they'll play will be 5 to 10 yard passes. And agility is really important and really necessary when you come up against pacey wingers, because they're going to have to deal with those 1v1 situations. So turning quickly is really, really crucial for them. So of course with the centre backs, we're going to be keeping them on stay back while attacking, which is pretty clear and obvious. When it comes to key attributes for centre backs, obviously pace is going to be the main one that people look to, as when people have pace up front, you need to have it yourself in defence. And slower centre backs do have a bit of a chance this year with the way that pace has been reworked. I also like to look for high reactions and composure on my centre backs. I find those, especially reactions, are really, really key. But some of the players who do not follow this trend, such as maybe Kimpembe's, there are anomalies. Obviously, high defending stats are all important. Make sure to keep a key eye out for defensive awareness and aggression. These two are really effective when the AI is in control of your players and allows them to make sure they're in the correct position. So moving on to the defensive midfielders, where for me, I generally like to have two proper out-and-out defensive midfielders. With the setup of this formation, their main job is to sit back and provide that screen in front of the defense. Hence why we'll be using them on the stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes, and cover center. So having players that are defensive minded with high defending and interceptions is obviously a no-brainer. Short passing is also another thing that's really key, because most of the passes they'll play will be 5 to maybe 15 yards at most. One of the most overlooked attributes that you need in this position is not actually a stat, it's something really crucial, and it's work rates. Especially high defensive work rates, medium or low high work rates are really, really important. This will mean paired with our instructions that your DMs are always in the correct position to deal with danger, cut out passing lanes, retain possession, and start counterattacks more effectively. To achieve this, you also want to make sure you have them on cover center so that they can patrol the middle of the field more effectively. This is also a reason why I've not highlighted pace as an important stat. But if your player has it already, that's obviously a bonus. If you choose DMs that are more attacking minded, maybe they're not natural defensive midfielders, like box-to-box midfielders, you might require a little bit of a tweak in the instructions, such as instead of them being on stay back, you leave them on balanced. So moving into the cams, for me, these are the most important players in the team, and they're the ones who have many roles to play. You need them to link between the defensive midfielders and the strikers. You need them to provide width and create chances. Not to mention you need them to chip in with a few goals as well. So to do this, we need to have them on free roam and get into the box. The free roam gives them the license to drift around, meaning defenses will have a really tough time defending them because they're drifting all around in the final third. And that unpredictability can give you a massive advantage when attacking, because we are forcing our opponent to have to drag players out of position in order to deal with this drifting around. Then you need to just have the skill to exploit the space that has been created by them dragging out their defender. In terms of attributes that you need to look out for, there are many key stats, like in so many positions. Pace will always be really, really important, but you really need players that have got high dribbling, really good short passing and vision, because these players are going to spend a lot of time on the ball and drifting around. So the vision is really important, that they can pick out the correct space to pick out. In terms of the dribbling, it's going to make them really hard to pin down, and the vision is also really going to help out with short passing and the chance creation that is needed, because they're going to be creating a lot of chances for the boys up top. And stamina is also really important as well, because they have a free roll. They're going to do a lot of running, so high stamina is required, or you need to have some really good super subs on the bench to be able to bring on in those key positions that naturally have the same sort of skill sets. So now we've finally made it to the strikers, and these two up top are the ones that are going to score probably 80% of your goals. So it's critical for the success of your formation. First up, you need your fastest striker. In this case, for me, it's Dembele. You need your quickest striker, is the one that's going to be stretching the defense in behind. And the other one wants to be someone who's maybe a little bit more creative, because they're going to drop into that false 9 role. And this is really going to create havoc, because your opponent does not know whether to track the runner in behind, which is Dembele, or to drop in and pick up Martial in that false 9 role. You also need to have players that have got obviously good passing as well, especially with the guy in false 9. So those 1-2 passes can work really well and be really effective, so that it allows them to link up. When it comes to attributes, we already mentioned pace being really, really important. Of course, shooting is highly relevant as well. For us, we also like to make sure they've at least got a 4-star weak foot on both players, because finishing is really important, because they're going to score most of your goals. So you don't want to have anyone with a 3-star weak foot that gives you any concern. It's also really useful if your quicker striker has really well-rounded dribbling and has 4-star skill moves, so that you can you can deploy a couple of skill moves that can really create you some space as well. And that well-rounded passing that we talked about is really important for both, but more important for the guy playing the false 9 role. So that is it for the 4-2-2. We really like this formation, and for us, we think it's going to be one of the most used formations again this year in FIFA 23. If you're someone who's unsure on where to begin with your formation journey in FIFA 23, then we suggest you look no further, because this is one of the best ones to start with. As we said earlier in the video, if you want us to continue to make more detailed formation videos like this one, then we need your support. So make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on that notifications bell. Also, make sure you go and follow our Twitter and TikTok if you want to see even more FIFA content from us. If you want to ask us any questions, make sure you let them know down in the comment section, and you can ask me personally on Discord. All the links to everything is down in the description. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.